Hello and welcome to another update video about Fantom. So yeah, Fantom is moving up nicely. Only yesterday I talked about Fantom and I mentioned to you that it is consolidating on a pretty high level and that I could not really find an indication that either the wave 4 or the wave 2 have started, so that we might see an extension in the wave 5. Also mentioned to you that if we break above the 50-cent level, you can see a massive spike. Now, okay, it's not exactly massive yet, but we have moved up in a very short period. From basically just look at this daily candle from where it started. Yeah, okay, it was quite good. One daily candle, 18% is not too bad, and only talked about it on the live stream, member live stream on Sunday, where someone asked me about Fantom. We looked at it, and you know, it was, I don't want to say it was clear, because nothing's ever clear in these markets, but you could reasonably assume that should the 50-cent level break, it can be quite a bit of a rally. So obviously now it needs to become something sustainable, but Fantom is doing great. I haven't looked at the Harmony 1 chart. I wouldn't be surprised if it does something similar. Let me actually go, because the reason I bring this up is because they have some correlation, these two coins. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, it's also moving up, not that much. It hasn't made a new high, but it's also consolidating on a pretty high level. Harmony 1. Either way, this is a Fantom video, so let's go to Fantom. Yeah, 54 cents. So what does that mean now? Let's look at this, and I have to assume that we have an extension here to the fifth wave. Yeah, so that we are still in the fifth wave, and that if I go to the 4-hour chart, or not necessarily the fifth wave. At the moment it could be either the white count or the blue count, and we have just an extension in the third. What I can just tell you is that at the moment we haven't really started either the wave 2 or the wave 4 retracement. So that was the idea, to have another pullback trade entry point, yeah, should we get into these areas. Now, of course, I will now, as already announced, should we break higher, I will have to move these support areas up with the price, because as you can see, if the fib levels move, I do have to move also these target areas, yeah, and this is currently the new box for the wave 4. It's just, if you think about why do we have two different boxes, it depends on which scenario is going to play out. I want to give you both possibilities, because it could either be here a 5-wave move, but I'd rather think we are in some kind of a scenario like Bitcoin, where we are in the blue count. I'm preferring the blue count, which would indicate that the next larger pullback we have will be a wave 4. The reason is that in most cases a wave 3 is extending like that, which would be the blue count, yeah? Just be aware, it could also be something different. And in addition, I've got the yellow ABC here, because it could very well be just a C wave, which is unfolding like Bitcoin, yeah? But I can also, yeah, now I leave it here. So this is where we are. We are moving higher, yeah? Now 54.17, so it's pushing even more. Again, not without surprise. I mentioned it only yesterday, and we have broken above resistance. So why was the 50-cent level so important? Look at the VRVP historical volume. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. We said the cluster. So first of all, 50 cents is a psychological level. Yeah, it's sort of halfway there to $1 and so on. Also, all round numbers are pretty much those psychological levels, but I find 50 cents is a bit more relevant. Then we had here this historical volume, and we zoomed out yesterday and said, right, okay, so if it goes above 50, you get that insufficiency. There isn't too much there, depending on how much I zoom in, but there isn't too much there. So if you zoom into that level especially, you see just at 50 cents it reduces. So that was reason enough for me to tell you yesterday that it can spike quite significantly should we break above 50 cents. And don't tell me afterwards I didn't tell you. Now we are doing that now, and I mean, this could now extend out to maybe around 68, 70 cents. That's the next major area of trade here, where we had support resistance, and where we have the next cluster of previous support and resistance. If I zoom out a bit, you don't even recognize it anymore. So I would have to zoom into this level to see actually that cluster starting in that region here around 67 to 87 cents. Yeah, I mean, that's where we are now. Certainly quite a bit of a rally. Question is it really sustainable? Are we extending much more? We don't need to extend anymore, but it certainly now has the capability of doing so. And in my opinion, due to the lack of support and resistance that we had on the way down, on the way up, we now have a chance to rally quite a bit if this rally proves to be sustainable, and it doesn't have any intention of stopping yet. If we zoom out, I mean, you can see if we then get to higher regions around the $1 level that we had important resistance here. Yeah, we had a massive spike back in 2021, so you know that, but that's when we get to the $1 range. We're not there yet. And yeah, certainly looking interesting, looking good. And we're getting to the point where getting an understanding of these levels, like the 50-cent level that I mentioned yesterday, is important, yeah, because we get that all the time when we are really in a sort of breakout phase, and Fantom seems to be, then these important levels are starting to get relevant. Also, we looked at it as a so-called bull flag, which broke out, and yeah, it's looking good. Target-wise, where are we target-wise? So to get an idea of targets, I'm going to take now the length of the wave 1 here, the blue one, go to the low of the wave 2, and we can see that we've now nearly reached the 3.618 extension, so that would be the 55-cent level. And above that we've got 59, and above that we've got 65. And then the 500% extension, I think I mentioned that yesterday actually, 500% extension would not be anything unrealistic in a breakout scenario, especially if we move above 50 cents, then that would be 69 cents. So I'm not telling you it will get there. What I can tell you, we are certainly in an uptrend. The uptrend is accelerating. We have broken above a critical level, and it doesn't have any intention of stopping. So these are the next targets, the next resistance areas, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 70, but that doesn't mean it will get there, okay? It's just stuff I've seen before many times. Also, we're now at above 54.3, and you can clearly see it on the time frames here that momentum is increasing. So, you know, this can extend out further, and now it's time for anybody who took that breakout trade, lean back and watch, you know, and move up your stop loss maybe, so that you take your risk out. But yeah, that's all I can say at the moment about Fantom. There is still also no evidence here that the bear market low is in. Again, we need more structure for that. We only have 3 waves up here, if I count it in the blue wave count. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 could be an ABC very simply. So yeah, it's a similar situation to Bitcoin with regards to is a bear market low in or not. But until we know that, you know, those levels can be traded. So it's starting to look interesting. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching.